Hey guys, and welcome back to a new episode of the Drunken Guardian Gaming Podcast. And today we're going to go over the news with Randy. Welcome back, Randy, to the show.
Hello there. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, man. And
it's been a fucking minute, right?
Say what?
So it's been a minute, right?
Yeah, it has been. It's been a while for the both of us. And then I was hoping to have you last week and we weren't able to do it. So I'm glad to have you here. Hopefully every week from now on.
Yeah, of course.
So the news for this week, some articles that I got around the interweb. IGN had this article talking about Vin Diesel. He is now executive producer for the Ark 2 game. Have you ever played the first Ark game before? You ever played that?
You mean Survival Evolved or some shit like that?
Yeah, it was Survival Evolved.
That one never really looked too good to me.
Yeah, it wasn't something that I was like ready to jump at, but it was interesting that Vin Diesel was getting back into the whole gaming industry because it just reminded me of the old Chronicles of Riddick games, which he had his hands on. What did you think of those games?
One of them was actually really fucking good, wasn't it? The Stolen Dark Athena.
Was it that? Wait, was that the second one? I know he had Escape from Butcher Bay, but I don't remember if that was the second one or maybe the first one. I'm pretty sure this is the first one.
Yeah. Butcher Bay was the first one. Dark Athena was 2009.
Okay, so you like the second one better. I can barely remember the second one. I just remember the gameplay mostly than anything else, and the story wasn't that appealing to me. The gameplay was great.
It wasn't for the story, but more like the combat and like the mechanics behind it.
Yeah. The whole like the night vision type stuff and the stealth. The stealth was great. The stealth was really great. He had his hands in Wheelman too. Have you ever got to play that one?
You play as a getaway driver, no?
Yeah, it was essentially Driver, if you remember that game as well. It's just like a new version of Driver.
Oh, shit. I remember Wheelman.
You remember that now? It was like more action-packed type of Driver game.
Really
like stuntman type. Yeah, exactly. And I don't know why he would have his hands on this, but apparently he was also in the Fast and the Furious Crossroads game.
They had a game.
Yeah, you have to look up the trailer for this game. It's a console game, and it looks like it came out of a phone. It looks like a free to play game you could download on your phone. It looks so bad.
See, when you said that, I thought it was going to be like PlayStation 2. And
no, this was recent.
Yeah. Trailer says May 27, 2020. It was this year.
Yeah, it was, and I've read reviews and seen videos of the reviews and stuff of this game, and of course, granted, it's just as bad as you could see it look. Oh man, I don't know why you would waste your money or time.
35% on Metacritic, 2.9 out of 5 on GameStop.
Yeah, and Vin Diesel had a hand in that. I'm surprised because he's usually pretty good with his games. I'm reading the article that IGN has about his role in this company, and I guess the reason why they added him in here was because they're saying he's played thousands of hours in Ark Survival Evolved, so he understands the game. Yeah, so he's played this game a lot to understand it and work on the sequel.
Wow.
I like to hear those type of things. I like to hear about celebrities that they do some like hardcore gaming and stuff. I love hearing about like Henry Cavill, like he's a fucking huge World of Warcraft fan.
Personally, just me, I'm not too fond of the guy himself, so I don't really care much for like the news about whatever. When he was cast for Geralt as Geralt in The Witcher, I wasn't too thrilled personally.
How'd you like The Witcher though?
I haven't seen it.
What? You haven't seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. It's very
from what
good.
I've heard, yeah. But I'm just again, it's just me. Maybe one day I'll come around to it, but
he did a video of a YouTube video of himself building like a super high end PC. So that was like a big thing because he was all being nerdy about it. And he even mentioned he tells the story all the time how he almost missed he actually ignored his phone call, but when he got the part of Superman because he was raiding.
That's actually pretty funny.
Yeah. So all right, so we'll move on to the next one. Pretty simple. I have a question for you, a follow-up question about it. Is Mortal Kombat the reboot movie based off the video game? It's coming out April 16th, 2021. and I'm hearing good things about it, but the good things I'm hearing about it is from the cast, so you can take that with a grain of salt, because obviously they're going to promote the movie. But they're saying how like gory and crazy it is, and there have fatalities and stuff. So I'm looking forward to at least a trailer to see, you know, so just to get an idea of what we're getting into. What do you think about that?
Personally, not too thrilled about like games being made into movies and whatnot.
Yeah,
but I feel like they've already been trying to make it into a movie in the game itself. I didn't even know they were going to come out with another Mortal Kombat. Holy shit.
Yeah, they've been working on it for a couple of years already. You mean like the games themselves are already being cinematic and such?
Yeah,
I agree. The story's great in the Mortal Kombat games now, like especially now that they are more cinematic. They've got a lot more cutscenes. They got a lot more characters. Now they delve into the whole time travel shit. Out. Yeah.
As for like all the fatalities being in the movie and whatnot, something tells me it's going to be a bit too gratuitous. For like,
you think they just do it just for the sake of it?
Yeah, because it's like it's Mortal Kombat. What's it going to be without the fatalities? What's it going to be without the blood and the gore? That's pretty much what it's like known for. And even in the game, some of them were kind of just like, all right, you're doing a little too much. Not that it's like completely wrong, obviously, because again, that's what like the franchise is there for. I don't know, maybe in the movie it's if we're lucky we'll get a Street Fighter the movie version of 2021, you know?
Really? Yeah. Oh man, I don't know. They could make a cameo of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, we'll have to see how it comes out. If anything, it's just a coin toss, but definitely taking everything with a grain of salt, as you said, with the actors. Like, yeah, it's gonna be great.
I agree. The fatality stuff, I don't really care so much about, because even the original Mortal Kombat movie was great, and it had no fatalities. Exactly. It just had a lot of fighting.
Yeah, because it was more focused on like the characters themselves.
Yeah. And the soundtrack was awesome. Speaking of which, with the Mortal Kombat movie, that original movie was directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. And speaking of that, you know, Monster Hunter bombed severely.
Oh, what? Did it? Jeez, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I don't know what the scores are on like Metacritic or Rotten Tomatoes or anything like that. I know I saw one review on IGN as well that they gave it like a 4 or something like that, and they were saying how bad it was because it doesn't touch anything on the actual game. Like the world, the culture. Movies. Yeah, it's just flashy graphics and giant monsters, and it's a worthless thing. And we talked about this. We were expecting that.
All right, let's see. IMDb 5.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes 48%. Metacritic 42.
Dude, that's higher than I thought.
Hunter. Higher than you thought.
Yeah.
Yes, they're giving him way too much credit.
Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, 50-50. It could be good. It could not be good. I will probably watch this one more so because I already know the reputation with Paul W.S. Anderson, and I got tired of his movies after the first Resident Evil. The first Resident Evil is the only one that needs to be seen. Yeah. So now that this one is definitely not involved with him, Mortal Kombat, that is, then I would definitely give it a chance. Let's see how the trailer is. It all depends on the trailer and such, because we knew the trailer for Monster Hunter wasn't that great to begin with. So stupid. So we called it. On to the next news. Speaking again of Monster Hunter, the newest Monster Hunter game, Monster Hunter Rise. Oh, fuck yeah. I'm getting that right away. You excited for? You do have a Switch, right? Yeah. And honestly, in my personal opinion, what Nintendo did with Monster Hunter was far better than what was released in World. Like, they did expand on the combat and with the grappling hook and such. They did introduce that new mechanic, so it was pretty nifty, especially with the sliding and whatnot. But in terms of visuals, it was very, very lacking. And they tried to give it a story, which Monster Hunter doesn't really need much of a cutscene story and whatnot, because most of the story is okay, if you want to delve into it, it's like any other RPG with, you could read the stuff, you have all your lore about it, your quests tell you what you need to do and how it pertains to the story in terms of the main quests. Then you have your side stuff, whatever. But even in the handhelds, everything felt so much smoother. The hammer play, I know that it didn't change much, but I enjoyed it more on the DS than I did on the console. The Insect Glaive definitely felt better on the console.
But at the same time, it's like you're taking away some of the essential things. The only weapons that were good were like the great sword, the katana, and that's about fucking it.
So you can compare this stuff more than I could, because the last Monster Hunter game I played was for the DS, and that was like the first generation game that came out. I don't remember what that was anymore, and then I haven't touched anything since Monster Hunter World. I mean, and then I haven't touched anything, and then Monster Hunter World came out, and then I played that for quite a while.
Honestly, I didn't play like the original PlayStation 2 one, but I did start on handheld with Freedom Unite on the PSP, and from there I've been playing it like, you know, religiously on the DS like afterwards, and it felt so much better. Even the one on the Wii, fucking Monster Hunter Tri.
I'll be willing to try it on the Switch.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
Yeah, the hand, you know, so Switch games are kind of niche. Like, it all depends on the type of game, you know, to decide whether it plays proper or not on a handheld compared to console, like you said. And Monster Hunter, I could see it working pretty well on a handheld, regardless. Well, what I was going to mention about this whole thing is the fact that Monster Hunter was going to be on the Switch, and there are a lot of people who were thinking that it was going to be completely Switch exclusive permanently, which is not the case, because the article here from Nintendo Life is saying Nintendo paid $6 million for a timed exclusivity. So this is crazy amount of money just for them to hold on to the game for a year, because the game will later come out for PC in 2021.
We're talking about Rise, right?
Yeah, we're talking about Rise, which is also weird for me, like that it's gonna come from Nintendo to only PC next year. It's a strange transition.
I personally don't find it weird, because they did have Monster Hunter Online, which was a pretty big fucking thing, and I think they're still like coming out with content for that. Like the monster, like the bestiary, I guess. It's insane. Like, they have such crazy fucking shit on that.
Is it a bigger game than World?
Yes, technically, because that's been going on for a longer time. Initial release date August 18th, 2013.
Oh wow, it's been a while.
It's for Windows.
Maybe we could check out some footage just out of curiosity to see how that game plays. But I never really. It's hard for me to imagine playing a Monster Hunter game with a mouse and keyboard. I mean, obviously a gamepad on PC is fine, but mouse and keyboard is just. I would assume that it plays like an MMO. I guess, like as if you're playing like Final Fantasy Online or something. I don't know.
You don't like have attack moves and whatnot, but like you have a more free range of like your camera or whatever.
Of course,
your hotbar is literally bound to your like number keys, so your items and how to use them, it's like all right there. It's accessible instead of having to like, you know, press a button and like select through everything.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm definitely excited for Rise. Finally go back to like the proper way to play Monster Hunter.
Well, yeah, I know you have the Switch. I have a Switch, so hopefully we can play together actually once a game actually comes out. Do you have a date for that?
March 2016. March 2016. March 26th of 2021. So next year.
Okay. All right.
It's like right around the fucking corner.
Nice. Yeah. Not too long at all. And that's what I like about Nintendo too, is that they always tend to announce these games not so far. I mean, granted, they mention things like Metroid Prime, whatever, and we haven't heard from shit after a logo. But a lot of the times they have this habit of announcing these games like, you know, 6 months before they come out, and they still hype it up properly. And
considering the hype, you know, an actual finished fucking product comes out. Yeah, we're gonna get into that soon. We're gonna get into that for sure. Unfinished products. But so our final article that we're gonna get into is GameStop again got themselves into hot water, making stupid decisions as they usually do. And that is, did you yourself get an email saying that they're about to sell physical copies of the PlayStation 5? No.
So I got an email myself saying, hey, this location at GameStop is selling 6 copies, six of them, 6 PS5s at this location. Go now, because we're going to sell them in about an hour. So can you imagine hundreds of thousands of people getting this email saying this location is about to sell 6 copies of a PS5. Get there now before they're gone. So you have tons of people bum rushing these locations, and the staff was not equipped to handle it because even they were notified at the last minute that these copies were going to be there. Ridiculous. Like you think that like they still don't get that there's a pandemic going on, and they have hundreds of people going to each location trying to get this system,
and everyone's hungry for it too.
Yeah, and I mean, there's people willing to fight over this stuff, and like, if not going there in person, you know they're gonna call, you know they're gonna complain, you know they're gonna fight. It's crazy how they would do something like this.
It's poor consideration for the consumer and the employees.
And their excuse was essentially, they said this was a way to discourage scalping. That's why they did this.
How?
I don't know. I have no clue.
That makes zero sense.
Because for number one, there's only let's say 10 products in the store, 6 products, 5 products, 4 products, whatever. There's a handful of products. How are you going to buy all of them and then still scalp them? So do you really think what do you think, that your staff is going to sell all 10 of them to one person? Like, how? Like, they can still go online. There's still all these bots that we have to deal with to work around so we can buy our own systems. And have you been trying to get a system lately?
No, not at all.
You just gave up?
Honestly, I don't care for like the first like initial release of it. Just once everything gets worked out, then I'll get to it. And I'm honestly in no rush either. Like,
why do you usually wait? Do you wait, maybe because of the bugs and stuff like that might happen? Or
aside from, like, there's also kind of like fuck all to play initially whenever a new console like comes out. So I'd rather just wait for like more things to come out and then get the console, if anything. Because like, honestly, right now all I'm playing is Kingdom Hearts. So what's the
of course
a glorified fucking Kingdom Hearts machine? My PlayStation 4 works just fine. I'm good with it.
Yeah, it's not like you can play Cyberpunk on the new consoles properly either.
It's not finished, so you know.
Yeah, so that's it for the news. That's all we're going to talk about for then. And right now we're going to go to our next topic. All right, so our next topic, we're going to be talking about crunch time. Crunch time is a big deal, big topic in the gaming industry. For those who don't know what crunch time is, imagine, a game releases they announce their release date, and let's say they have about 6 months left before the release date, and they're probably nowhere near done. What they're going to do, usually by management or by the publisher, sometimes occasionally it'll be voluntary. The developers will essentially work somewhere between 10 to 15 hours a day, 6 days a week, trying to crunch all that they can to fix the game, make the game playable before it comes out so they can reach their release date. So what made me think about this topic, what made me think about questioning this practice, is the fact that CD Projekt Red, again, Cyberpunk is a big deal right now. They denounced this practice. They said that this practice is no good. They don't agree with it. It would never happen to them. And lo and behold, the game was supposed to come out in September originally, and sometime during the summer they announced, we're going to have to push the staff through crunch time in order to make the September release, which we all know didn't happen. And it still got released in December. Now we all know, again, what we got in December was probably the worst unfinished game I've ever bought. And I don't know. I know, Randy, you didn't buy the game.
God, no.
But I'm sure you've seen footage. I'm sure you've heard the news and all this stuff. What did you think about the game? How it got released? Your opinions and all that?
It was fucking hilarious, honestly. Like, watching it from the outside in was the best thing ever, because there was a lot of hype behind it. And don't get me wrong, like, what they did show us was like it was something worth getting excited for. But at the same time, it wasn't worth putting like all their employees through that shit. Because if they're gonna work that hard, at least finish the game, make it genuinely playable.
Yeah, I agree. they didn't finish the game, and their excuse was that they didn't pay any attention to the console versions. They were so focused on the PC version, which I think is the most bullshit excuse. After everything that's happened, this was their comment, is that, you know, they apologized and then they said, oh, you know, we're sorry, we focused more on the PC side of things rather than the consoles, and we kind of overlooked the old console versions. That's a whole other thing to get into to vent about. But yeah, the crunch time was basically pointless. So you put the staff through this strenuous work time, and I'm pretty sure they got paid for it. They got compensated for it, which a lot of companies actually don't compensate you for it. They tend to find ways to not pay you overtime for it. So luckily, at least CDPR, you know, they compensated their staff well. Yet we all know what happens when a game comes out broken, unfinished, or just bad. Even if it is finished, we blame the developers, and we know it's not their fault, though. It really isn't their fault. So you could look at the publishers. If you're going to blame anybody, blame the publishers. If you need to go deeper into it and blame someone from CD Projekt Red, then blame the management. I think it's ridiculous that these guys, you know, they put their heart and soul into a game, and you know they wanted a finished product, but they were forced. And Randy, is just like you said, it's not just the game industry, but it's also the consumers.
Oh, definitely. When it comes professionally or unprofessionally in this kind of case, everybody wants to have the best fucking game of any year. As hyped as it is, as not hyped as it is, they just want to put something out that's going to be absolutely fucking amazing, and that's going to be talked about continuously, but in a good way.
Yeah.
In this case, it's a really shit game that's going to be talked about in a bad way. But also, we can't really put the blame on CD Projekt Red. First off, I was going to try to give them like a little bit leeway in saying like, oh, but you know, The Witcher 1 was only released on like Windows and Mac, so it kind of makes sense what they focus on PC. But also looking at that, Witcher 2 was released on consoles, so kind of should expect to release their stuff on consoles and not just focus on PC. But
absolutely,
yeah. But going back into the topic at hand, with the consumers being to blame, it's definitely them. I understand that they gave us a release date, and I understand that they wanted to get that done at that correct time. But if they can't, they're going to delay it. And it's totally fine if they delay it because they want to give a finished product. But with everyone fucking hounding them, oh, why are they delaying it one time? Why are they delaying it 2 times? Why are they delaying it 3 times? So they could finish the fucking game so you could be fucking happy. Everybody bitched and
this is the product that they get. Exactly. This is their end product.
They bitched and moaned. They got their product. They got their fucking game that they were like, you know, crying about, and no one's happy with it now. So who's to blame? Them.
I mean, I would say 50-50, to be honest. It also comes to the greed. Yeah. it comes to the greed of the publishers as well, because the problem is that they don't want to pay the staff more money to continue developing this game. You know, they gave, like, you know, imagine me and you developing a game and we told the publisher, hey, we're going to get it done in 4 months. And they're going to pay us for 4 months, and we say, oh shit, we can't finish it, we're going to have to do another 3 months, and they have to pay us another 3 months, and we're like, oh shit, we still can't fix it, let's do another 5 more months. And the publishers at this point, they're like, yeah, we're not paying you, we're not going to give you any more money because you've promised us this date and then that date, and now like you're wringing us dry of money. We need to get our money back, so you're going to release this broken game so we can get our money back, which is what happened. You know, when the game came out, they made their money back and then some.
Yeah.
All the development costs, they all got that money back just on pre-orders alone. On top of that, they even got their marketing money back for the game. But now they're getting all this bad press, and to jump into a topic about it as well, is now they might possibly be sued.
Oh, that's neat.
Apparently, the shareholders of the company, people who are investors, people who are buying their stock, they are suing CD Projekt Red right now in a class action lawsuit, or possibly a lawsuit, saying that they lied about the marketing. They what do you call it? False advertising, essentially. So now this rumor or possibly the truth is going all around, and this might actually happen and bring Project CD Red down the drain, thanks to the publishers. and consumers.
Yeah.
So it's crazy how crunch time could be so important to the industry, and yet it doesn't really do that much.
It's very double-edged, because then also you could have like a Daikatana situation, you know, on your plate. You know about the whole production thing behind that, right? How John Romero like kept telling them that it was going to come out at a set time, and he kept pushing it because he already had the money for it. So he ended up just releasing this utterly fucking garbage game.
It was broken. Yeah, it was a broken and an outdated game actually at that too.
Hell yeah. Honestly, they should have just pulled a John Romero and stalled it until it
came out.
I said they should have just pulled a John Romero and stalled it until it came out.
Yeah. But they forced it. I mean, look at Duke Nukem. Duke Nukem has been pushed back for what, 15 years or so, and that was complete garbage as well. I mean, I don't know if they involved crunch time into any of these games, because it moved through so many different developers and publishers picking up the game, and they even changed the engine a couple times. But I don't know what they did about getting the game done. But the fact that it got delayed so many times, it just proves that like there has to be this middle ground of, you have to delay a game to make sure you get a damn near perfect product, but at the same time you wait too long and you lose the interest of the consumers. Yeah,
and that is very true. But then it also depends solely on like the franchise and the developer, because Duke Nukem, you gotta admit, it wasn't that good of a fucking game to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, it went stale after the early 2000s.
Definitely. So with that, it's kind of like, yeah, sure, it was a shit game, but it's also a shit franchise. So it's more for the novelty, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
But then like Cyberpunk, which had this sick ad from the get-go. You saw that one, right? The first one with like the lady with the arms, the blades coming out of her arms.
Yeah.
That looked awesome. And then especially with like with the Witcher franchise under their belt, you should have expected a lot better. We did expect a lot better. That
was the thing too, is, I mean, but still, like, granted, even though the trailer was badass, and even when they started showing gameplay and it was just as great, the problem was that Project Red was only showing PC versions. And if not the PC versions, they were showing, you know, just cinematic trailers or game or quote unquote gameplay, which was really just computer, you know, it's just CGI, trying to make it look as good as they can. And, you know, the game journalists everywhere, they all said, hey, I tried to get a hands-on review for the PS4 version or the Xbox version, and they wouldn't let us. They always just gave us the PC version. Ooh. And they gave us embargoes, and they only showed us the PC review. So they purposely avoided, you know, this whole PS4 thing. So, like, you know, yes, they're more focused on PC. I get that, but if you're going to advertise for the consoles, then you should be working on the consoles as well. And if you feel like the quality would have dipped down, then you should have just focused on the PC and then do a port later in the future. Wait a year or something like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So again, well, you know, I know we're distracted again, venting about Cyberpunk in the industry and stuff like that. But back to the whole crunch time thing, like, it can be stressful for so many people. There's a video that I found on YouTube, State of the Industry 2019, Mental Health in the Game Industry. They said that a third of developers remain in the industry for 10 years or more, with the average lasting from 3 to 6 years. And that's because of crunch time. They get so stressed out over this stuff that it damn near kills them.
Yeah.
There's an article here that I had also read. It said crunch time was notorious for kicking in when a game is in serious trouble. Last year, Kotaku broke down how employees in BioWare endured ultra stressful schedules to finish Anthem. We all know how Anthem went. To continue this, I actually cannot count the amount of stress casualties we had on Mass Effect Andromeda or Anthem, both BioWare games. A former developer told Kotaku writer Jason Schreier via email, a stress casualty at BioWare means someone had such a mental breakdown from the stress they'd just gone for 1 to 3. A stress casualty at BioWare means someone had such a mental breakdown from the stress that they're gone from 1 to 3 months. Some of them even don't come back.
Fuck.
So that's how stressful it can be with crunch time. You're keeping people away from their homes, their families, their kids, their wives, their partners, whatever it may be. And I thought I was stressed in the military. Like, at least I still had, in a sense, a 9-to-5 job with an occasional once a week or once a month, depending on when I was where I was stationed. Once a week or once a month, I had to work 24 hours. But these people are working like 15 hours a day, 6 days a week. So that's lack of sleep, lack of eating, lack of anything. Yeah. And they may not even be getting paid for this stuff.
Yeah, no, that has to stop. Because, again, with those two examples being Andromeda and Anthem, those weren't exactly the best games that have been out.
Yeah, another example of why crunch time doesn't work.
Yeah, definitely. It's a shame that they don't learn, the industry as a whole. It's just, maybe this isn't working out for us. So how about we stop slaving them?
Well, yeah, it's almost a sweatshop type of attitude, because I don't think they really do care as long as the money talks. If they make their money back and then some, then it's justified.
Well, in quotes.
And yet you have all your staff members practically quitting or dissolving, and then you can't continue to make quality work for the next game or the next DLC or the next patch or anything like that, because you have, let's say, half of your staff leaving because they couldn't deal with crunch time. Did you ever plan on getting Cyberpunk?
Okay, at the beginning I did, but I knew something was gonna go completely wrong at some point. Just all the hype that was going behind it, I was like, no.
Were you just thinking it was too good to be true?
Yeah. Because it definitely was. And as you clearly saw, it definitely fucking was.
Yeah. I was honestly, I was surprised. I bashed pretty hard on Cyberpunk, and I'm still bashing on it. I still don't think what they did was right, but I bashed on that's good. Bashed on Cyberpunk quite a bit in the last episode, and since then, 3 patches has come out. And I jumped back on the game after the 3rd patch to see how, the progress. And to be honest, I was quite surprised with how, I'm not going to say the game plays better, but the game plays better than it was before.
So it's improved slightly, but
it has improved, because when the initial launch, I played the game literally as soon as my clock hit midnight. The game was downloaded and I played the game.
Jesus.
And I stayed up for about an hour and a half. I stayed up, I say about 2 hours actually. So about 30 minutes of the game was me just making my character. And then the rest of the time was me playing the game, and the resolution and the just textures, the popping in and out of the textures was getting me the worst more than anything else. And then the controls, and then as soon as I got into a vehicle, the game couldn't even keep up with the textures throughout the world because my vehicle was going so fast.
That's fucking terrible.
So I was clipping, I was lagging, that was rubber banding, there was so much shit going on. And now with these new patches, the texture, I have not seen any pop-up textures yet. The graphics they still need to be worked on. The graphics are still pretty bad, but at least they're stable. And then also when I'm on the vehicles and I'm driving as well, the textures are still able to keep up now. So on top of that, I can definitely see a difference with the shooting. I could definitely see a difference with moving around with the joystick and the camera moving up and down and such. Yeah, it's definitely gotten better. So hopefully with improvement in January, February, like CDPR had said that they're going to release some major patches throughout the year, things will get better. Hopefully even the graphics will get better.
And honestly, as great as that is to hear, there's still something in me that disagrees with the whole patching thing.
How so?
Because it just kind of gives you an excuse to send out an unfinished product. It's take the shit, we're gonna polish it later.
Yeah, it's not the first game to do that. I mean, Bethesda does it all the time.
Oh no, of course.
BioWare does it all the time as well. They release these AAA games, and they call them AAA because they're such big franchises, but they're always unfinished. And this is one of those things, like you said, that the consumers need to change about the industry, is that stop allowing this to happen.
Stop allowing stop demanding.
No, it's not even just demanding. It's just stop allowing these companies to pull a fast one on you. Stop allowing them to release unfinished games because they're going to tell you later, oh, we're going to fix this later. We're going to fix that later. You know, I want a finished game when I get the game, not 3 months later when you decide you want to patch it.
That's totally right. But with the whole to stop demanding, there are always going to be those people that are going to be like, oh, why can't this game just come out now? Even if there are no delays, they're just impatient. So at that point, it's kind of like the companies know, oh, you know, they want this already, so we're just going to give it to them and fix it later on.
That is a good point. It's not they're not just pressuring the developers; they're pressuring the publishers. The publishers are going to be like, oh yeah, let's get this money right now. They want the game so badly, so they're going to push it.
Andromeda was a steaming pile of shit. But the only reason it was so sought after was because it came off of the initial trilogy. Mass Effect itself was already a very established franchise. Even though it had a shit ending in 3, it was still Mass Effect.
And you see how these publishers screwed BioWare. They were probably one of the best companies out there. And now they're screwed up because of Andromeda and Anthem because they rushed the product.
Yep. Because of crunch time. Yeah.
I wonder if there's a law. They should start working on a law or something like that. Just no crunch time. Just, I don't know. We call it slave labor or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, not all games were better back then, but at least like you got something that was finished. If it had a bug, it wasn't something that was immediately game breaking in the sense that like you break the entire thing or whatever the case. But you know, it was like, oh, you know, you could kind of go through this rock by mistake, but at least you could pop right out. But the game was done. You were able to get from the start to the finish without anything major fucking up.
Yeah, rarely would there be game-breaking bugs. I think there was one game-breaking bug. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was one of the 64 Zelda games. Could be Majora's Mask, could be Ocarina. I'm not really too sure. But I know there's a game-breaking bug, and since, you know, back then they didn't do patching yet. There was no internet in order to patch a game. So they caught wind of it and they just replaced your game. Like you had to go to your retail store and you just get a replacement game. That was the way you patched your game, your unfinished game. So those developers had to eat that cost and develop another game, another version of the game, and give those out to people.
That's honestly a lot better. I mean, sure, it is a blow on the industry, but I personally feel like that has to be kind of necessary. It's like, all right, you fucked up, so this is the cost, the literal cost that you have to pay in order to finish your product. It can't just be like, oh, you know, a little slap on the hand and here's a free patch.
You take that risk, you take that cost.
Yeah, so you should have done it right the first time.
Unfortunately, things are not like that anymore, and that's the thing too. The you know, with the convenience of the internet and online services and patching and all that stuff, is just it makes, and I get it, it makes things so much easier. It actually improves on things too. They may not even be glitches, and you can still improve on the game throughout its life cycle. Yeah. But I don't know, you still should be releasing a full game, whether it be the graphics, whether it be the story, whether it be the content, the gameplay, all of that you're advertising before the game's release should be delivered beforehand.
Yeah, of course. It's a good example of like something that was good, but like just improved on. In this case, good in quotes. I'm not a giant fan of Kingdom Hearts 3, but there was a patch that they had thrown out. I forgot exactly when it was, but it was definitely after the release, that what they did was, it was no changes to like the combat, no changes like majorly to the graphics or whatever, but they just went in and like, you know, messed around with some cutscenes, changed a few things here and there to make it just a bit prettier. Nothing completely major, because there wasn't exactly anything that needed fixing per se, but it was still just, you know, a more quality of life thing, if anything. At least the product was finished, you know?
And that shows that you care about, you know, the people that are playing the game, you know? Like, you can make those little quality of life adjustments. No one probably asked for them, and yet you still do them anyways, and people are happy for it.
Yeah.
And you appreciate it, obviously, because you notice those little things.
Yeah. And even then, after watching like a whole before and after like comparison video, like you could see what was done.
More venting. I'm sorry. There's more venting going on with Cyberpunk still. I'm honestly, I'm not happy with, I wouldn't be happy with the lawsuit if it affects the developers, but I know it will. But I really feel like they deserve this lawsuit because of the way they went about everything. And this is the same thing why I'm so confused actually why this never happened to oh god, I can't remember the developers for No Man's Sky.
No, everyone was really unhappy with that because there was a lot of promises, but they're at least actually like trying their best to do everything that they had actually said that they were going to do. And
the games now is crazy. Yeah, the game looks. I still refuse to buy it because of the way they went about it when the game first came out.
Of course.
I've seen the footage. I've seen the articles and stuff. Yeah, the game looks amazing now. But why weren't they sued for a game that they promised and wasn't nowhere near delivered? And they got refunds too. They were giving out refunds like candy because people weren't happy with the product either because they falsely advertised what the game was.
I guess not many people did care about that game, but not enough to this degree, I would say. It's weird, like people just pick and choose what to really bitch about and whatnot.
Oh, of course. I mean, everyone has their preferences. Like, I would bitch and moan more about No Man's Sky than I would Cyberpunk. It's just Cyberpunk right now is what's going on.
Yeah, it's the most recent disappointment, so it makes sense to just keep on like going on about it. It came out 2-3 weeks ago? I don't even fucking remember.
December 10th. So it came out a week and a half ago.
Oh, wow. Jesus.
Yep.
It feels like a lot longer.
It really does, because it seems like every day is a new article of something going on. Because they first it was the game, then it was oh god, I gotta mention this also. I wanted to probably mention this in another episode, but I might as well just mention it now since we're venting more about it. But fucking oh my god. So there's this huge game-breaking bug apparently in Cyberpunk where if you save your game and if it's 8 megabytes or more, it'll corrupt your save file.
No.
So you can essentially be playing the game and it'll corrupt for no reason. You can't play it anymore. That save file anyways. Like, oh my, like how bad is this game getting?
Jesus Christ. Dude, not even fucking like Pokemon cartridges. Shit.
Anyways, all right. Well, I should stop. Just shut up, Danny. It's upsetting. I don't like when the industry takes advantage of the consumers, and I also don't like when consumers bitch over a product that they should have waited on. But you know, I know you feel the same way. It's just I bitch about it more though.
I mean, you're the one that actually played it, so if anyone bitch more about it, it's you. Like I'll have a broader view on the what is it, the fucking industry and the consumers, whereas like you could get more to the rice, like the meat and potatoes on Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
Still not gonna play it until way later though.
Yeah, I'll let you know when it's actually worth buying.
When it's on sale for like $20.
Yeah, probably. I think that would be it. Because the day that the game came out and I was playing it, my buddy he texted me. He said, "Hey, how you liking Cyberpunk? I haven't bought my copy yet." And the first thing I texted was, "Don't buy it." I just immediately said, "Do not buy it." And he was asking me why. He thought I was joking. And I was like, "No, I'm serious. This is a broken piece of shit." And then I sent him a long ass text venting about the whole thing. And he didn't buy the game. I was like, "Yo, just wait. I will tell you when it's worth buying." So yeah, all right. So I'm gonna end it here because I think we will go on forever about this. But crunch time, no good,
no bueno,
no do,
and people need to stop fucking demanding shit.
Yeah, people, please be patient and just. There are hundreds of games you could still play. Like seriously,
dude,
so much shit.
Playing Kingdom Hearts non-fucking stop.
Yeah, and that game is how old?
It's still amazing, dude.
But that's what I'm saying though, like there's so much shit that you can play, and I'm sure there's stuff that's 10 years old that some people had never played before and they can jump on that still.
If the developer needs more time to do what they need to fucking do, just play something else.
Yeah, play something else and wait.
Whether it's on a console or with yourself in the bathroom, just fucking do it. Simple as that.
Yeah, we all, well, not we all have joysticks, but most of us have joysticks. All right, man. So I'll let it go from there. Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Thank you.
And make sure you check out our show description so you can get some more information. You can check out our social media presence and some information about the next episodes of the podcast. I'll see you guys. Say bye, damn it.
Oh, shit. Sorry. Bye. I was just kind of trailing off in my own way.